Welcome to episode 13 of Run With. Today I talk to the amazing Matt Clowes. Matt has had a varied running career so far and has dabbled in many distances, spent time in America and here in the UK. He's done a sub 4-minute mile and ran a 2:13 marathon. I talked to Matt all about his down-to-earth approach to running, training and life in general. This is the last episode of the current Run With series. If you have missed any of the previous episodes, please do make sure to check the link above and you can catch up on all the guests that I have chatted to so far. It will only be a short break. I will be back in December. We have plenty more of exciting guests to bring to you. Whilst you're here, please do make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you know when the series returns in December. So first off, how are you today?
I'm very good, thanks, Kelly.
Been working away in the home office?
That's it, yeah. It's the new normal, isn't
it? It is the new normal. So where are you based now? Wrexham?
Yeah, Wrexham. We moved from Cardiff 3 months ago.
Yeah, so how's the move? So you moved in, did you move in lockdown or just after?
Well, we moved in the start of August, so that was basically when things were quietening down. Cases were quite low at the time, but yeah, I think we kind of did it at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. It must have been a bit crazy though, trying to organise all of that with everything going on.
Yeah, to be fair though, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we moved from a flat in Cardiff to obviously a house here in Wrexham, but I couldn't believe how much stuff we had. Like
accumulated.
You know, you think just a 2-bed flat, there wouldn't be that much stuff, but we filled a big old van full. So
yeah, oh good. Okay, so what I want to talk about first off is obviously we're doing this via Zoom as well for anybody that's watching this, because usually I do it face to face, but you've just come out of, what was it called, fire break, yeah. Fire break. We're in lockdown now, so you guys have got a little bit more freedom, but we're back down. So we're doing it by Zoom, but it's great, so we still chat. So let's start off with the beginning of your running journey. When did you and why did you start running? Was it a school thing for you?
Yeah, it was school. Obviously, I had just done cross country like any other school kid at the time. It was just a case of, just doing a few laps of the football fields. Did that through sort of secondary school. Actually, no, through middle school to start with. We just had this. We had this that we used to do, and used to love doing that, just in your football boots. Did that through middle school. I was playing football as well, so did that through secondary school, and then it was where I did a local 10k in my village where I'm from, is Cheddleton in Staffordshire. It was a 10k Cheddleton pud run 10k, and there was just an old bloke there, and he just pulled me to one side after the race. I think I ran probably around 35 minutes for a 10k. Can't remember how old I was. I think it was 2006, and yeah, this old bloke just pulled me to one side. I think Roy at the time was probably in his mid-70s, maybe even late 70s. But he just said, do you fancy coming down to the track? So that's pretty much where it all started for me. I mean, I was still playing football, and I was until probably about 18 to 19, but that's pretty much where the journey began, really.
Yeah, but it really started. So you were kind of talent spotted.
If that's what you call it, yeah. Scouted.
He's scouted. He was quick. So yeah. So you were playing football as well?
Yeah, playing football. Played football, for years. Just as a on a Sunday. Did a little bit on the Saturday as well for county. So I was a pretty decent footballer as well. So it was quite hard to decide which one I wanted to sort of pursue, really.
I guess you were at that age as well where you kind of want to do both. Football's quite important, and running's quite exciting too.
Yeah, it was quite a tough decision, actually. When I was training with Roy, which was the club I was with, Staffordshire Moorlands, we used to train on the dirt track in Leek in Staffordshire. And we trained there, and sometimes in the summer I'd be playing football as well. So I'd be doing my track session, and then I'd go over and play a game in the evening as well. So trying to do both of them at the same time was there was times on Sundays where I'd be playing football for 90 minutes and go out and just do a hilly run around the roads where I'm from. So it was hard, actually, to be honest. I think it was my dad. It was quite hard to tell my dad, because obviously, as a young lad, your parents have such a big influence on what you do, and they just follow you around. And he was like the liner as well, and he'd do a bit of coaching on the side with us. And telling him, I think I was about 18, that I wanted to pursue something that he didn't really know much about. I thought I think it was quite hard for him, and it took him a few years to sort of get to terms with it, really, because it's like something so different and so new to him as well.
Did he get on board with the running?
Yeah, I think he did. Like, he enjoyed it. I think he missed the the sort of camaraderie of having everyone there and having a good laugh and all that sort of stuff. But he got on board with it eventually. It took him a few years, though, to be fair.
Oh, bless him. Yeah, but I can imagine that as a parent. You kind of think you want your kids to, and it's a club, isn't it? It's being part of a club, and there's the parents, and there's you can be involved with your children with what they're doing. But I guess running is quite a solo sport, so it must be quite different for a parent who isn't used to running to kind of accept that you're kind of going off and doing a different thing.
Definitely, yeah. And I think as well, it's it is so different if your parents have done a different sport and it's all they know, and going to a sport which is very sort of, it is unique in a way that you're just standing there, you're just watching a load of people running on a field or on a road or on a track, and there's not much engagement from from the spectators as such. So it was a bit different.
Yeah. So you start off there, then after college you end up going to America on a scholarship, is that right?
Yeah, so I was gonna go to the States after I finished college, so I would have been 18. I kind of went down that process, but a failed SAT test sort of was the factor where it was one thing that was like, oh well, if I want to go again, I need to retest. I need to have a reset of the SATs. But I was in Kenya, training in Kenya, so I couldn't compete because with obviously how the system is in America, if you compete for a season, you lose more eligibility when you go over there. So I was gonna compete for Northern Texas, I think the team were. Okay. But the coach said at the time, he was like, no, you can't compete because you'll lose more eligibility. Because I think I was 20 then. And so I went to Kenya, found out that I pretty much bonked my SATs. And then so just decided to sort of scrap that idea, and then went back to racing. So then I met Gina, my wife, just before I went to Kenya. So obviously, like, we started going out after Kenya, and then we were together. Then we wanted to go and do something abroad, like just go traveling or something like that. So we were just contacting. We were thinking of going to San Francisco, so we were just contacting coaches and sort of teams out there just to see, like, what opportunities are out there for us, just to link up with a few different clubs and teams and stuff. So we reached out to a couple of universities, and we got a little bit back to start with, and then we started to reach out to other top NAIA schools. So NAIA schools is it's basically, you've got your NC2As as your main sort of division collegiately.
Yeah.
So Division 1 to Division 3, then you have your NAIA, what sits underneath that. So we thought, great, we could potentially go to an NAI school, because I was 21, Gina was still 20, she had a little bit more eligibility than me, but basically the clock's ticking. So NAIA school is, you don't have to, you can be at any age essentially. So yeah, so we just we got an email back from a coach in Portland to say, listen, we'll give you everything if you can come over in the summer. So that was pretty much where the journey started, really.
Yeah, fantastic. So you both go on this journey together to America. And how was your time there?
We loved it. It was tough. It wasn't easy. I'll be honest. We had our ups and downs. I don't think it was as smooth as a lot of sort of scholarships go for British athletes moving to America. We didn't specifically get the support that a lot of athletes do get. I stayed at Concordia, which is the university, but then Gina moved on to University of Portland after her first year, so she competed for that team there. So yeah, it was tough. It was a tough few years. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Learned a lot, both academically and about myself. But yeah, it was a great experience. I'm so glad we did it. So we were there for 5 years.
Yeah, it's quite a while. So any teenagers that are keen on running and they want to pursue running as a career, maybe, would it be a route that you would recommend to anybody that's younger?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it depends on what you want out of it as well. There's so many different ways you can look at it, as far as like, oh, I want to go out there to run really quickly, or I want to go out there and have just a different life experience.
Because it is a great life experience, isn't it? You're going out to a different country, you know, and you're being independent, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to any young athlete out there, I'd say, you know, do your research, definitely. And I think everybody says that if they've done that and been to America. Yeah. But do your research, find out what exactly is around the university and the lifestyle and the culture, because as we know, you know, in America, you can go from one state to the next and the cultures can change quite drastically. So yeah, but I think I'd recommend it to any athlete looking to improve their, you know, running ability. Yeah,
something to consider. Then whilst you're out there, you broke the 4-minute mile, right?
Yeah, 20, I can't even remember now, 2015, I'd say. 2014, 2015, yeah, that was a really special moment to do that.
Yeah, did it hurt much?
No, not at all. The races where you run your personal best, you don't. It's like just I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it's just you just glide and you just float through the whole thing. It doesn't hurt. But it was really good, a really cool experience, because I did it it was an indoor race, and it's very sort of close in the indoor sort of circuit, and everyone was in the infield as well as on the outside as well. And not many NAIA athletes had broken the 4-minute mile, so that was it was a really cool experience.
Oh, I bet it was an amazing atmosphere in there.
Yeah, it was. I remember on the corner, my coach at the time, he was just actually like screaming at me, because I could see him. He stood on the track on the bend, and yeah, I think it was a cool experience for him as well, because he was really new to the. I mean, he coached before, but not to this level. He coached in the sort of junior colleges. So for him to see an athlete who he was coaching do that, given I'd still say I was coaching myself as well, but for him to have that experience as well, I thought was really good.
I want to talk to you about your coaching as well. You are self-coached, aren't you, at the moment?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
Even though Gina would say that she coaches me as well.
Contributes.
She does, yeah.
because you're both, I mean, she's an amazing athlete as well. So do you both sit there and kind of look at your training for the week and say, well, you know, maybe you could tweak this and maybe you could tweak that?
I mean, I think I wouldn't say we're that structured, to be honest. I'd say it's really great to have feedback. You know, sometimes I think I think it's really great to have a coach, because it's the days where you're unsure if you're doing if you're pretty much if you're doing too much. And it's just having another voice. And I think that's more than anything that I get from having Gina, is just a case of bouncing off ideas and saying, oh, do you think I need a bit more recovery here? But yeah, it's just a case of having a conversation more than anything sort of regimented.
Do you find, because you are self-coached, that having Gina there, that you have a bit more accountability? So I guess when kind of we've got a coach, like when I go to my coach, I go and do a session or I do this because I have to report back and because I have to do it because that's what I've been set. So do you think, like, because you're both runners and you're both athletes, that you can report back to each other and you kind of have, do you miss any accountability to anybody else, or do you find that you've got that, you're pretty focused?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a very sort of complex athlete, to be honest. I'm very simple. And I think that's the beauty of the sport. You know, I train every day. I sort of, I do structure my training. Don't get me wrong. You know, everyone does. But the way I sort of plan my week is, it's just sort of, it's simple. It's effective. You know, the accountability of someone setting me something and be like, right, I'm going to do that to the T. Yeah, maybe that's the side of things where there could be some benefit, but on the flip side, that can also be a detriment to you as an athlete, because, like, let's say, for example, like for me last week, I did a session on Sunday. It went pear-shaped. I felt like crap. And I pulled it early because I didn't feel good. And I think that's the beauty of being self-coached. And yes, sometimes you do need that coach in your corner saying, listen, this is a session set, you got to do it, and that's that. But on the days where you're feeling like, I feel like shit, I need to sit back, I need to take some time off. And I think they're the days where I really appreciate having, like, myself, holding myself accountable for what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, no, completely, I get that. I think you can have a bit of bravado when you've got a coach as well. Like you said, you can just kind of rollick on a session because you don't want to let somebody down, which you might not necessarily be being honest about how you feel on that day or how you're feeling generally because of that other person. Whereas when it's you, you know yourself, you know how you're feeling, you know what's what. So yeah, I agree with that.
Definitely. And I think as well, at the end of the day, you know, you learn so much from different coaches. You take snippets from what they've done previously and you use them to what works for you. And I think that's really important as well.
And is that how you, with your training at the moment, have you taken kind of like all the best bits that you've been, you know, the advice you've been given over the years, the research you've done and what you've gone through? Do you just kind of take all the best bits that you've enjoyed or, you know, that work from all of those bits?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you take nuggets from what you've learned, and you know, and it's trial and error at the end of the day. You know, if you can go out and run one day you can run an easy run at 8-minute mile, the next day you're running a 7-minute mile, and you do that for months and months. Be like, oh, the 7-minute miling felt better, or the 8-minute miling per mile felt better pace run. But it depends on, it's all trial and error. I've done every single training modality in the book, and I know this bit works for me and this bit doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And the simple training model for me is the one that I think works best, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll ask you a bit more about your training weeks in a bit. First of all, though, I do want to talk about, so you come back to England and you're kind of a 10K runner. 10K is your thing when you come back from America, is that right?
I don't really know what my thing was when I come back from America, to be honest. I don't know where it was. I lost my identity.
So you've kind of dabbled at all distances, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm still on the fence with, because I didn't think I've ever really given any distance a real sort of shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when I got back from America, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, to be honest.
Okay. So I quite like that, though. I quite like that you've kind of just have a go at it all. Keeps it interesting.
Yeah. I think to be honest, I think if you want to be an all-rounded solid athlete, you need to explore all the distances. I don't think you should limit yourself. I think, you know, I've pretty much gone about it in a way of, I started out running, I started 10k sort of training, I moved down, and then I moved sort of back up as I got older and I was more experienced. But I don't think you should limit yourself. I think your body likes variety. It likes all sort of training, whether it be in speed, endurance, aerobic work, whatever, lactic stuff, etc. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. You've just got to have fun with it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's no point if you're not having fun. If the fun's gone out of it, then you're doing something wrong, in my eyes.
Exactly.
So how did the marathon come about?
How did it come about? I think I just got bored of doing what I was doing. I wanted to challenge myself a bit more. I think that's, as you can see from Power 10, I just got bored every year. I decided to just do a different distance. It came, I don't really know how it came about. I think, to be honest, it was like, I think Fast Running at the time sort of did like Gina, my wife, she sort of put a bet on saying, oh, you couldn't run a marathon, etc. I think that sort of got blown out of proportion a little bit. But let's roll with it. So anyway, yeah, so I did, I was doing, I think I just started to do some half marathon stuff, and I was doing pretty well. I really enjoyed it. Like, I remember doing my first half marathon in Manchester, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved it was weird. Like, I loved like taking my time with it in a way, where you can, you know, with a 5k, even a 10k now, I feel like it's all sort of guns blazing. Whereas with a half marathon at the time, I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, I can take my time, I can settle in, I can focus, I can concentrate. I've got 13 plus miles to really sort of, you know, have a good go at this, but do it in a way which is smart and sort of calculated. And so I started to do the halves, and I was loving it, absolutely loving it. And then I was like, oh, let's give the marathon a crack. So my debut marathon wasn't the best, to be honest.
No, this was London 2018, is that right?
That was the one, yeah.
The hot year.
It was a hot year, yeah. It didn't favour me well at all. I think, to be fair, like, I had a great marathon block, went really well. I was in really good shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the heat just got to me. It was a bit of a car crash, to be honest.
Yeah. Because you were going for what, 2:15, sub 2:15?
Yeah, I was going for that, and it just didn't pan out the way I wanted it to.
Fell off a little bit.
Yeah, to be honest, I felt pretty crap after about 5 miles. I mean, if you're 5 miles into a 26-mile run,
yeah,
you know, you're gonna have a bad day. But you know, I persisted. I carried on.
Well, you didn't DNF.
I didn't DNF. I tried to get out, but
how did you try?
Everyone was like, "Oh, you know, shows good courage. You carry on." I tried to get out, but I couldn't, because so many people in the crowd. So carry on.
London is pretty chocker, isn't it?
That year, especially, it was. I remember just. You go under one tunnel. I can't remember whereabouts it was, but you go under a tunnel, and I just wanted to stay in the tunnel, to be honest, because the noise. I mean, if you're having a great day, oh my god! Like, if I was having a great day there, you could just feed off that crowd.
Yeah.
But, I got into that tunnel. I was like, oh, I just need to stay in here for a little bit.
I think I stopped in that tunnel, actually. It's really wide.
Yeah.
I think I can remember just standing against a pillar, just like, I've had enough. I'll hide in
Yeah.
here.
But it's quiet,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, I just stood in there a little bit and just thought, God, this is nice and quiet. So I thought, screw it, I need to get out of here. So I carried on, and I remember seeing a couple of people on the course, and yeah, just there was people shouting my names, I was stopping, people handing me freaking nice lollies, and
Sounds like an ultra marathon. Nice
yeah,
lolly.
it was pretty bad. I got to halfway in 68 something, and I just sort of carry on. I got to like 20-ish miles and tried to jump the fence, but I saw one of my mates. He was like, "Oh, carry on, mate." So I was carrying on, grabbing my side because I strained my calf as well, and I was severely dehydrated. And I managed to finish. Got round. I think some guy in his sort of basketball shorts beat me. I think he was dressed up as Forrest Gump, actually, something like that, but I can't
Yeah.
remember. I got to the finish, and yeah, I was starfished on the ground. Got through the athlete's tent, and I saw Gina, and I said I need to go to the toilet, type of thing. So I ended up being in the medic's tent for about a good while, because I thought I was completely like dehydrated.
Yeah.
So yeah, first experience not so great.
Not so great. It was I can remember I think I was I was cheering on that year. And I stood somewhere past mile 21, 22. But people were coming by. It was like a war zone, because people were
Yeah,
coming by and collapsing, and it wasn't that fun to watch at that point, because you realize just how bad it was out there. It was
yeah,
like some war zone.
it was.
So your real debut then, let's say, your next
Yeah, for
debut
sure.
it was over a year away after London.
Yeah.
So it was Berlin.
Yeah, so I was supposed to do Manchester in the spring of 2019, and I got a hamstring strain after Cardiff Bay 10K, so pulled the pin on that one, and then so Berlin was the next real crack.
And you ran 2:13:57 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
57. Yeah, I've got notes, but not looking. So how was that? How did that differ to London?
I mean, the block was, I'd say, maybe 1 or 2 weeks shorter than London. It was a great block again, very sort of conservative throughout the whole block. Even the race, I wanted to get a good experience of the marathon. Yes, on that day I probably could have run a lot quicker, but I wanted to get a good experience out of the day, and just to get a time on the board.
Do you think that with London being so kind of distressing for you, do you think that you were carrying any negative mental side effects from London into Berlin? Was it kind of like, gotta get over this thing that happened?
Yeah, I think, definitely. You do carry sort of a little bit of baggage with you in that sense, because it was such a like terrible experience as far as running a marathon. So yeah, there was an aspect of that, but at the end of the day, when you're focused on something, and I think I was having such a great day that I think it went out of my memory pretty early on, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so that obviously helped with the rest of the race, and then I guess you could just focus and settle in, focus on the job.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed Berlin. It was a great experience, and the
Berlin's
crowds
a
there were
great marathon,
fantastic.
right?
Yeah, it really suited me. There's not really many sharp bends. I can't run sharp bends. I turn like a boat. So yeah, the sort of the smooth corners and the roads they're great. Yeah, I'd highly recommend Berlin to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I ran it in 2018, maybe.
Nice.
I can't
Yeah.
remember. But it's a lovely route, lovely, flat, smooth.
Yeah.
Good crowds, actually. They're really good.
Yeah, Germans just do it great. They're just everything, the organisation of it, and just the people. Like, it was, yeah, really cool event.
Do you think that you had a benefit, or maybe not so, from having a marathon training block that you didn't use in a race?
Yeah, potentially. I think, I did a block for Manchester, and obviously, that's what it is. It's a block. You keep stacking blocks on blocks, you're gonna see the benefit, whether it, if there isn't a race at the end of it. It's been hard for everyone this year with the limiting of races and stuff, but it's just one of them things. We've all got to get through it. So
do you think that the limited races this year is going to help athletes, elites especially, do you think it's going to even the playing field a little bit for next year, if and when races do come back?
it depends on how people have been going. Like, and there's not many full time or whatever that is these days. I don't really know, but it depends on how they've gone about their seasons. If somebody's taken a big break and they wanted to have a proper a year off and get ready for, if they're top end, for Olympics or whatever next year, then it depends on the setup and their goals, as far as that. But I think a lot of athletes at my level would be looking towards that 2022 year, where there's everything basically going. There's everything up for grabs. So it depends on how people are sort of plan their seasons.
It's exciting though. It is exciting for when everything does return as normal. After Berlin, you had a stress fracture. Is that right?
Yeah. So I got two sacral stress fractures.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
so I didn't think one was enough, so I decided to break my sacrum again. So yeah, it was on my left side. So yeah, I got two. I think I built up too quick after Berlin. I just didn't respect it enough, and yeah, so that was pretty much the rest of 2019 finished really.
And then we've headed into COVID year. How did you find coming back from, because the stress fracture is quite a serious injury and you have a big layoff, especially sacrum. I can't imagine there's a lot of anything you can do whilst you're off with that, is there?
Yeah, so to be honest, for me, that was probably the biggest injury I've ever had as an athlete. Yeah, I cross-trained a fair bit. I got my stress fracture a couple of days after we got married. So we went back to Portland, where we used to live, and obviously I wanted to run out there and go on all the trails that we used to run in when we were in college, but that wasn't to be. I tried a few runs, as you do, thinking it's something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much took me out until February. Me thinking that I was going to be able to do London in April was still, I don't know how it was in my mind, but I decided to have that as something in the back of my mind to train hard when I was cross training, and it wasn't to be. I just couldn't get back in time, but obviously that changed when COVID hit.
So you didn't run London in April because obviously it's cancelled. How come you didn't do it in October?
Yeah, it was an interesting one actually, because
you paced at London, didn't you?
Yeah, I paced. I didn't have enough time, to be honest, as a block. I wasn't too bothered about London because they kept changing the date, they kept pushing it back, and I was just like, do you know what? I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to sign up for Valencia in the December. So yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't do London.
So was that you didn't have enough time to train coming back from the stress fracture? You just didn't feel like that was a long enough block, or?
No, I think I had enough time. I just think I started back probably training like fully probably in the April. So I did a nice big block, sort of 10k training then, and then I had a break. But then having the break and not knowing if London was going to go ahead,
Yeah.
it just wasn't enough time. And I was just like, well, I've learned from my mistakes before with trying to push too much too soon. So, and maybe it was a bit of a blessing in disguise that I didn't, to be honest, and left it to a later sort of build up.
Yeah. But you still had fun at London pacing. How was that?
Yeah, it was great. I've not raced all year, so having that sort of experience was great. You know, it was, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't in great nick for it. Like, I didn't do enough training for it, but it gave me a kick up the ass that I needed.
Oh, you need it, especially with Valencia coming up.
Yeah, it was good because you know, that's the sort of pace that I'd want to do, similar to what I want to do in the marathon. So it was nice to have that in the back of my mind to see how it felt.
Yeah. And Valencia is 8th of December, is that right?
I think it's the 6th.
6th or 8th. I always get 6 and 8 confused for some reason. How's that training going now? How's your training looking at the moment? Good, or is it hard?
It's looking great. Like you say, it's just simple training, you know, two sessions a week type of thing, and everything else is pretty easy. But I've had a good block so far. I've got another sort of 2 weeks left of this block. Two hard weeks. I say hard, I mean two lots of hard sessions.
So your typical training week is 2 sessions?
Yeah, 2 sessions a week. Yeah, so it'd be like a Wednesday and a Sunday. So one of the sessions would be so what I've been doing before, obviously with the fire break. So the track was closed for 2 weeks, but before it was a track session in the week, and then it would be a marathon specific on the weekend. So I don't like to do too many long runs of just jogging along. To be honest, I like to do a session. So it would be, you know, anything from mile floats or 4-mile tempos, 5-mile tempos, stuff sustained long runs, faster sustained long runs. Yeah, that would be the week really.
So you're coming up to the end of this block now.
Yeah, 2 more weeks, and then start to ease off. And then I'll do 2 weeks of 10k training, and then that's the big day. So finally got some flights booked because the last one's got cancelled.
What a nightmare.
So yeah, the plan is to go to Alicante now and train over to Valencia.
So you can't go directly to Valencia. You can't fly out there at the moment.
I mean, I can't find anything from where I'm from, where I'm living at the moment. I think there may be some in London, but I think they got cancelled today. So yeah, that's at the moment, that's all we have. So if that doesn't go ahead, then it'll be
a little road trip.
Driving or I don't know.
Well, that makes it a little bit maybe more interesting. A road trip.
Not particularly, no. I mean, I'm a sales rep as well by trade, so I do a lot of I was doing a lot of driving, not so much now, but the thought of doing all that driving doesn't really excite me, to be honest.
Can you not be passenger? Get some rest.
No, I'm not a good passenger either.
Do you find how are you feeling though ahead of Valencia? Do you find that all the, you know, with the flights being cancelled and all the what's going on with COVID at the moment, and not knowing if you're in lockdown, if you're on a fire break, are you finding that that's mentally tiring in this training block?
Yeah, like it can get you down, can't it, at the end of the day, you know, like we run for fun. I'm no full-time athlete, like professional athlete or anything like that. I run because I enjoy it. I find a lot of fun, and you can't get sort of bogged down and all that sort of stuff. Like if it goes ahead, great. Yeah, I'll be gutted if it gets cancelled now. But we've been, you know, it's been a cert that it's going ahead, so that's all we can sort of go with. But It is what it is. Like, you know, there's bigger things in the world, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Than a race. But yeah, of course, you know, I wanted to go ahead, but yeah, at the back of my mind, sometimes I'm like, what am I training for here if it gets cancelled? But you know, we got this far and it's still going ahead. So, you know, you gotta keep positive, I guess.
And even if the worst came to the worst, it's not wasted training, it's in the bank, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, we've got Olympic trials in March, so it's a quick turnaround anyway. So I'd get ready for that if it was the case. But so far, it's going ahead. So
yeah, great. So what's the goal for Valencia?
to start and finish would be the first one.
April.
Yeah, you know, I want to get close to the Olympic trials time, Olympic qualifying time.
And what's that?
So that's 2:11:30.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You know, I think for me, just running a PB would be great. You know, anything sort of 2:13 flat to 2:12:30 would be fantastic. But at the back of my mind, that is the time that I'd like. But anything faster than what I've done before is it's great. Yeah, it's you know, it's a personal best, so you can't do any better than that, can you? So
yeah. And just quickly, I want to talk, because you work full time, and I mean, what's your weekly mileage usually? It's got to be quite high.
Not really. No, I mean it's. I don't know. It depends on who you talk to, I guess, whether it been high, but I tend to run about 90 to 95 a week for this block and just stay at that.
Do you find it difficult fitting it in around full-time work?
Yeah, it's hard, you know, like, you know, it's life, isn't it? You know, like we got to work, you got to make money to live, and you just get up early, you train before work, you train after work. You know, the beauty of it at the moment with me is I'm not traveling as much. You know, my territory is pretty much half of England and the whole of Wales. So it's a lot of driving normally, and I'm out on the road a lot. So at the moment, with being primarily at home, it's been okay, but you just fit it around, you know.
And do you and Gina try and do sessions together? Do runs together?
Yeah, I'll run a few easy runs with Gina in the week, and that's pretty much what we'll do really. You know, her schedule's very different to mine, so we just
have some company now and then, though.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like I say, we do this for fun, you know, but it's that's what we want to get out of this, you know, have some fun with running and enjoyment. It's not all guns blazing 24/7. So
yeah, and I love that, you know, you're obviously extremely talented, you work hard, but it is, you know, the main thing for you is to make sure that it's still fun.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if the opportunity came that you could turn full-time a professional athlete, would you go down that route?
No, bore me.
Well, yeah, okay.
Absolutely boring. No, I need something in my life. I need structure. I mean, yes, okay, you could have structure with doing that, but I like to have a career. I like to progress, and yeah, like, you know, it's I don't think I could do it. No.
I think it's quite healthy as well, because it's a balance, isn't it? It's not all about running. There's other things in life, you know, there's work, there's family, there's everything else that goes on in your life, and it's not just solely running. And I can imagine if it's just running focused and that's your day in, day out job, then the fun will go.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, you need structure, stability, but also sometimes yes, okay, everybody always says follow your passion, you know. You should always follow your passion. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but what happens when that passion gets boring and there's no fun with that passion? Then what have you got left then? Do you know what I mean? So I think having something else in your life to sort of focus on keeps that passion sort of alive in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Okay, brilliant. So what's the goals next year then, the Olympic trials?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe the Olympic team now. I don't think that's going to happen, but try and get close. Let's say that. I'd like to put myself into that sort of have that opportunity to sort of think like that. So we'll see. You know, like do well there. See what happens after that, and probably do another Berlin or Frankfurt in the autumn. Just try and get a little quicker and see a bit more. Try and see a bit more of the world as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I miss traveling and all that, you know. So maybe I'd do a Frankfurt or something else. So I've not been there before, so we'll see.
Frankfurt's good. I think Matt did a marathon there last year, maybe.
Yeah.
Bit of a whistle stop tour, but yeah, it seemed like a good marathon.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens and go from there. But yeah, definitely try and get a little quicker over the sort of half and the 10K and see then what I can do with the marathon.
Yeah, so stick at the marathon for a little while longer. And then
I'm not getting any younger. You know, part of me thinks I could go back to doing the middle distance stuff, you know, because I always keep in touch with it. But I'm having a lot of fun with the longer stuff, so we'll stick with it, I think.
Yeah, stick with what works at the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I've absolutely loved speaking to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule with all your training and your work.
No worries at all.
It's been a delight to talk to you, and I can't wait to see how you get on at Valencia. I'm also really excited to see how you get to Valencia.
Me too. Yeah, that's the exciting part as well, isn't it?
And I have got to ask as well, have you been on any treadmills for your training lately?
I've not. No, we have a treadmill, but I've not been on it yet. So
I was just asking because I didn't know if you'd been soft.
Never.
For anybody who's watching, they need to listen to Inside Running because you're on there at the moment, right?
Yeah, he's a soft boy, or Pete is.
Yeah, soft boy. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for taking the time. And what I'll do is I'll share your Strava links and social media links. Although you're not on social media a great deal, are you?
Not really. No, I just can't be arsed with it. I mean, I do try. I do try. I think the good thing with Strava is it uploads automatically, so it looks like I'm doing something. Yeah. So if I can do that for Instagram or something, then yeah. But no, I could probably do the getting better. But yeah, you know.
You've got other things to concentrate on. Some of us have more time for the social media thing.
Exactly.
All right, well, take care, and I will speak to you soon.
Cheers. Thanks, Callie.
Thank you. I really do hope that you enjoyed hearing from Matt today, and we wish him all the luck in Valencia in December. We'll be back with some more amazing guests in December, so please do stay tuned, follow along, stay safe, and happy running.